If there's one thing that I could have done differently when I first came to Southeast Asia, it would be to have come with a backpack instead of a suitcase. Hey guys, today we're talking about how to backpack through Thailand. I'm going to give you all my best tips for backpacking in Thailand. Based on my own experience backpacking around the country for 3 months, let's get into it. Alright, first things first. Let's talk about the most important items in your backpack. You don't want to go backpacking without them. And then I'll give you some suggestions on places to buy them. So first, obviously, you need a backpack. If you already have a backpack that you love, awesome. But if you're looking for one, I'd suggest getting one that is between 40 and 60 liters. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, but make sure that it fits well and comfortably on your back. When I bought mine, I had no idea what I was doing. I just went to a store, picked one out, and then went home and watched tons of YouTube videos on how to pack it. And they were so helpful because I realized that I'd been packing all my stuff wrong. And I also learned some really good ways to organize everything. And I have links to all those videos down below in the description box. As for the stores, you can choose from a lot of different brands and models. If you live in North America, you probably know the main ones. But if you live somewhere else, you might not. One brand that is very popular here in Europe is a brand called Deuter. They have lots of hiking gear. I've been eyeing this backpack in particular. The only problem is that it's like 100 euros, which is quite expensive for me right now. But maybe someday. Okay, next up, you need a good lock. There are 2 types of locks that people tend to use. A small one like this that you attach to the zippers of your backpack, or a big one like this that you wrap around your entire backpack. I personally use both. I always put this little one on my backpack, and then at nighttime when I'm staying in a hostel, I will put this big one on my backpack to keep it extra safe. Next, you'll need a padlock. The ones that come with lockers are usually quite rusty, so I wouldn't recommend using them unless it's a short-term solution. Get yourself a nice new padlock. This one is nice because it has a little button thing, and you do need to worry about remembering a combination. Next, you should bring a carabiner. I use mine for connecting my bottle to my backpack, hanging my wet swimsuit inside my backpack, keeping my towel and my sarong together, and hanging my bag from my bed in a hostel. Now the next item is optional, but I highly recommend bringing it, and that is a day pack. It's essentially just a smaller backpack that you can take with you for day trips. You can put things like snacks, water, your phone and camera, and any other essentials that you think you might need during the day. And another optional item is something called compression cubes. These help keep your clothes neat and tidy and organized inside your backpack. I saw someone else in a YouTube video using these and I thought, oh, that's genius. I wish I had known about these sooner. And honestly, I do. I even think that I would have brought a day pack if I had known about compression cubes, because you could pretty much put everything into your compression cube and then just take it out whenever you needed. It would have saved me the space in my backpack that the day pack was taking up. Now, if you're not interested in buying any of this stuff, you can rent it from some hostels. When I first arrived in Bangkok, I stayed in a hostel and I rented a locker there. But I ended up buying a lock instead of continuing to rent it every night. But they did also have day packs that you could borrow. Okay, next, I'm going to tell you where to buy these things. There are a couple of options. First of all, you could do it online. If you do, make sure you leave enough time for shipping. Option no. 2 is to go to a physical store. There are a few different types of stores that you could visit. A general outdoor store, a decathlon, or you could go to a market. In my opinion, the best place to go shopping for these things is at a market because they have everything. And also, if you go to a market that's near a tourist area, they're probably going to have things that tourists would want to buy. For example, in Bangkok, I went to Chatu Chek Weekend Market and they had a huge selection of things. I also went to MBK Shopping Mall and they had a huge selection of things there too. Here in Chiang Mai, there's a place called the Night Bazaar, and I found exactly what I was looking for. And if you're in Phuket, you should check out the weekend market there. I heard it's massive. All right, now that we have all that out of the way, let's talk about how much things cost in Thailand. All over the internet, you will see people talking about how cheap Thailand is, but trust me, it doesn't have to be. You can spend as much or as little money as you want. If you want a really cheap place to stay in a hostel. A bed in a dorm will run you anywhere between 300 baht or $10 per night to 700 baht or $20 per night. Prices vary depending on the location and the time of year. So if you're going to a popular destination, expect to pay more. Also, if you're going during the high season, expect to pay more. We just celebrated Songkran here in Thailand, which is Thai New Year, and also the biggest holiday here. We were in Chiang Mai and prices quadrupled. It was like 1,000 baht or $30 for a bed in a dorm. So yeah, if you're going to be traveling around Thailand during the high season, keep that in mind. Anyway, if you want a more private room, expect to pay between 500 baht or $15 to 2,500 baht or $75, and those prices are for a room by yourself. If you're splitting it with a friend, then it's obviously going to be cheaper. Now, if you want something fancier than a hostel, you could always book a hotel or an Airbnb. And if you're traveling as a family or a group of friends, I would recommend renting a house. That is probably the cheapest option, and it's definitely the best if you re-traveling with others because you have your own space and privacy. Okay, now let's talk about transportation. So if you're traveling long-term around the country, it might make sense to buy a scooter or a motorcycle. Renting one is usually quite expensive. So if you're planning to do a lot of traveling around the countryside, then buying one might be the best option. But if you're just visiting for a month or a few months, then renting is probably the best option for you. I personally am not comfortable driving a scooter or a motorcycle, so when I need to get around cities, I just call a taxi or I use a ride-sharing service. To get from city to city, I usually take the train or a bus. There are a couple of apps that you can use to book your tickets ahead of time, but sometimes it's easier and cheaper to book them in person. If you want to learn more about that, I made a whole video explaining it, so the link is down below in the description box. And last but not least, I want to talk about food. So Thailand is known for its street food, and it's so delicious. You can get a pad thai for $10 or less, and it's so tasty. But I also love to cook. So I go to the market and I buy fresh produce and then I cook at my Airbnb. At the market, I usually buy ingredients that I recognize, stick to the vegetables and fruits that I know how to cook with, and I try to avoid things that I've never seen or heard of before. But I'm also adventurous, so I like to try new things. Recently, I bought these baby corn things and they were so sweet. It was amazing. Of course, don't forget about the spices. There are so many interesting ones here and there, very cheap. You can get a big bag of chili powder for $1. There's also turmeric powder, lemongrass powder, shrimp paste, dried shrimp, and the list goes on. The point is, you can eat street food the whole time and save money, or you can cook at your accommodation and save money. It's up to you. You do you. So there you have it. Hey, those are my top tips for backpacking through Thailand. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope that it helped you out. Don't forget to follow us on social media for more travel tips and hacks. See you later, bye.